The wind cuts like a blade through Detroit's rusted veins. Leonard, 44, hunches on a frost-cracked curb, breath fogging. A cardboard, anything helps in numb hands. Then he spots him. A kid in blinding white sneakers, sharp jacket, scrolling a phone. Desperate, Leonard rasps, "Spare $1?" No one expects Barron to look down. But what he does next stuns Leonard and ignites a wildfire that shakes a nation. Buckle up. This ride's unreal. Smash that like. Hit subscribe. Help Superior Stories hit 1,000 subs and keep these tales roaring.
Detroit's industrial edge doesn't sleep, it growls. Late winter 2025 claws at the city with icy talons, and the air's thick with diesel fumes, a sour tang that sticks to your throat. Down on the corner of Mack Avenue and St. Jean, where the pavement's cracked like old skin, a rusted factory skeleton looms across the street, shuttered steel dreams gone cold. A flickering neon sign buzzes over Manny's bodega, its open 24/7 promise half-lit, winking like it's mocking the stragglers shuffling past. Horns blare in the distance, tires hiss on wet asphalt, and the wind howls through alleys, kicking up grit that stings your eyes. This isn't a postcard city, it's a beast, alive and unforgiving, and it's where Leonard's fighting to survive. He's 44, but the streets have carved him older. Leonard slumped against the bodega's chipped brick wall, his patched coat hanging off him like a shedskin. The cold seeps through the layers, flannel, denim, despair, and his boots, soles worn to whispers, let the damp creep into his toes. Beside him, a cardboard sign sags against a crumpled coffee cup. "Anything helps," scrawled in marker, the ink bleeding from yesterday's sleet. His hands, calloused from years welding steel beams, tremble as he adjusts a gray beanie, tugging it low over ears that VE heard too many no's. His eyes, sharp despite the hollows beneath them, scan the crowd, heels clicking, sneakers squeaking, kids laughing. They're a blur of motion, a river he's drowning beside. Another day, he thinks, breath fogging in the air, another $1 I won't get. Maybe I'll score a quarter, maybe a curse. Same difference. Leonard wasn't always this ghost. 3 years back, he was a welder, damn good one. 2 sparks flying as he fused metal at the old plant across the street. He had a paycheck, a 1-bedroom with a leaky faucet, and a daughter, Ellie, who'd call him dad, with a giggle that could melt steel. Then the plant folded, corporate cuts, they said, and the dominoes fell fast. Jobs dried up, his back started screaming from old injuries, and rent piled higher than he could climb. Ellie's call stopped when shame choked his voice. He couldn't face her questions. No? He's a shadow, invisible to the suits and moms and teens who rush by, their eyes sliding past like he's a stain on the scenery. Inside Manny's bodega, Mia's watching. She's 32, wiry, with hands that move quick, scanning smokes, bagging chips, counting change for the night owls who stumble in. Her black hair's yanked into a messy bun, strands escaping like they're staging a jailbreak, and her apron stained with coffee splashes from the morning rush. The register's her throne, but it's a shaky one. Double shifts barely dent her rent, and the landlord's texts are getting nastier, all caps now, pay up or pack up. She's tough, though, forged by years of scrapping through this city. Her voice cuts sharp when some punk tries to swipe a candy bar, hands off, or I'll break him, but there's a flicker of softness she buries deep, locked behind a smirk that says, I've seen worse. Mia wasn't born behind that counter, though it feels like it's some days. She grew up 6 blocks away, in a sagging row house where the heat cut out every winter and her mom chain smoked through 3 jobs to keep the lights on. Mia was the kid with the chipped front tooth from a playground brawl, the one who'd sketched dragons and skyscrapers on the backs of overdue bills, her escape from the shouting matches echoing through thin walls. Art was her ticket out. She swore it. At 18, she clawed her way into a community college design program, eyes blazing with plans to turn Detroit's jagged edges into murals that'd stop traffic. But life doesn't care about promises. Her mom's lungs gave out cancer, fast and brutal, and Mia dropped out to pay the bills, trading her pencils for a barcode scanner. That was 10 years ago. Now, her sketchbook stuffed under her mattress, gathering dust, and her dreams feel like a taunt, close enough to taste, far enough to choke on. She's not bitter, not exactly. Mia's got a fire that won't quit, even if it's banked low. She's the one who'll blast hip-hop through the bodega's tinny speakers at 3 a.m., daring the drunks to complain, or slip an extra tamale to the old lady who can't afford it. But the weight's piling up, $2,000 behind on rent, a car that coughs more than it runs, and a brother, Rico, who keeps calling from jail, begging for bail she can't scrape together. "You're the strong one, Mia," he'd say, voice crackling through the line. "Don't let me rot." She hangs up every time, fist clenched, because strong doesn't pay the bills. Her only rebellion's the sketches she still scribbles on napkins during slow shifts, gritty cityscapes, faces like Leonard's, etched with lines that tell stories she'll never voice. Mia knows Leonard, sort of. Not his name, not at first, but his shape against the wall, his quiet slump. Most days, she ignores him like the rest, but sometimes, when the rolls from yesterday go stale, she'll toss one out the door with a gruff, "You're still breathing? Huh?" He'll nod, mutter a thanks, and that's that. She doesn't ask why he's out there. She's got her own weight to carry, Rico's pleas, the landlord's threats, the ache of a life she can't claw back. But today, as she wipes the counter with a rag that's seen better days, she catches his silhouette through the smudged glass. Guy stubborn, she thinks, blowing a strand of hair from her eyes. Freezing his ass off for what? Pride? Hunger? Doesn't he know nobody stops? The street's a symphony of chaos, car alarms wail, a bus rumbles past, brakes screeching, and a guy yells into his phone about a late delivery. Kids dart by, hoodies up, laughing over some TikTok they're filming. A woman in a power suit clicks past, heels stabbing the sidewalk, her nose buried in a call. Leonard's part of the noise, but not the rhythm. He adjusts his sign, the cup empty as ever, and pulls his coat tighter. The cold's a fist in his gut, and hunger gnaws louder than the wind. $1, he thinks, staring at the pavement. One lousy dollar could buy a coffee, warm these bones. Fat chance. Mia leans on the counter, sipping burnt coffee from a styrofoam cup, her eyes drifting outside. She sees the crowd, the rush, the way they curve around Leonard like he's a pothole. She's used to it. Detroit's got 1,000 Leonards, 1,000 curbs. But something about him today snags her. Maybe it's the way he doesn't yell, doesn't plead, just sits there, stubborn as the rust eating the factory across the street. He's still out there, she mutters, shaking her head. Gotta give him that. He doesn't quit. She doesn't know it yet, but that stubbornness is about to collide with someone who'll turn this gray, grinding day into a story nobody saw coming. The Detroit wind doesn't just blow, it bites, sharp and relentless, slicing through Leonard's coat as he huddles against the bodega wall. His cardboard sign flaps like a wounded bird. Anything helps, barely legible now, the ink weeping into the damp fibers. The crowd churns past, boots stomping, voices barking into phones, a kid's skateboard rattling over cracked pavement. Leonard's a speck in their storm, his coffee cup still empty, his stomach a hollow drumbeat. He's been at it since dawn, 7 hours of nothing but cold stares and colder air. One more try, he thinks, rubbing his hands, the skin cracked and red. Then I'm done. Can't feel my damn feet anyway. His eyes flick up, scanning for a mark, someone who might pause, might care. Then he sees him. Across the street, under a streetlight's flicker, a kid stands out like a flare in the gray. Tall, lean, maybe 18, dressed in a black jacket that screams money, tailored, not thrift shop, and pristine white sneakers that glow against the grime. He's scrolling a phone, thumb flicking fast, oblivious to the chaos swirling around him. The crowd parts for him, subtle but real, like he's got an invisible shield. Leonard squints, something tugging at his memory, those cheekbones, that jaw, but he shakes it off. Rich kid. Probably got $1,000 in his pocket and zero reasons to look down here. Still, hunger's a cruel boss. It shoves him forward, past the shame clawing at his ribs. He clears his throat, voice rasping like sandpaper. "Hey, kid," he calls, loud enough to cut through the wind. "Spare $1? The world hiccups. The kid freezes, mid-scroll, his head tilting slow, like he's rewinding the sound. A woman in a puffy coat stumbles, glancing back. A teen with a vape puffing cloud slows the strut, eyebrows up. Inside the bodega, Mia's wiping the counter, but her rag stops dead, her eyes snapping to the glass. "Oh, hell no," she thinks, leaning forward. He didn't just yell at that guy. Rich boy's gonna laugh, or both. Bet on it. The air thickens, a dozen gazes ping-ponging between Leonard and the kid. Leonard feels it, the weight of their stares, the silent bets on his rejection. His pulse kicks, a dull thud in his ears. Stupid, his mind hisses. Should have kept my mouth shut. He'll walk away, and I'll be the fool again. But the kid doesn't walk. He turns, full on, his face catching the street light, a calm, unreadable mask, eyes dark and steady. Leonard's throat locks. Up close, those sneakers aren't just clean, They're flawless, like they've never touched this city's dirt. The jacket's got a sheen, the kind Leonard's only seen in ads, and that phone? It's sleek, expensive, probably worth more than Leonard's made in a year. The contrast stings. Here's a kid who's never known a growling stomach, staring down a man who's forgotten what full feels like. Leonard braces, expecting the brush off. A shrug, a smirk, a get lost. He's heard them all, each one a brick in the wall he's built around his pride. He's gonna laugh, he thinks, hands balling in his pockets. Or worse, nothing. Just keep walking like I'm air. Inside, Mia's jaw tightens. She's seen this play out 100 times, some slick type strutting past, tossing a sorry, man, if they bother at all. She leans on the counter, coffee cup forgotten, her breath fogging the glass. Kid's too pretty for this block, she mutters, eyes narrowing. Bet he's got daddy's credit card and a chauffeur waiting. Leonard's wasting his damn breath. She's half ready to turn away, back to her napkins and her sketches, when the kid takes a step. Not away, toward Leonard. Mia blinks, hard. What the? Outside, the vape teen pulls out his phone, camera up, whispering, "Yo, that's Barron Trump, I swear." A woman gasps, fumbling for her own shot. The crowd's hum spikes, a buzz of shock and skepticism rippling out. Leonard doesn't catch the name, not yet. He's too busy shrinking under those eyes, dark and piercing, like they're peeling him open. His chest tightens, a flood of heat climbing his neck. Why'd I do this? His mind screams. He's somebody, and I'm nobody. Should have picked a bum like me, not him. The shame's a tidal wave now, crashing over years of no's, of doors slammed, of Ellie's voice fading to static. He's asked 1,000 times, sure, old ladies, truckers, punks, but this feels different, raw, like he's stripped bare on this curb. His mouth twitches, half ready to mumble, never mind, and crawl back into his shell. But hunger's louder than pride, and his feet stay planted, rooted by a flicker of defiance he can't name. $1, he thinks, staring at those sneakers. Just one. Then I'm gone. The kid, Barron, tilts his head, just a fraction, like he's sizing up a puzzle. The crowd's a live wire now, phones flashing, whispers swelling. Is that really him? No way here. What's he doing? Mia's frozen, rag dangling, her pulse ticking up. He's not moving, she thinks, disbelief curling her lips. Rich boy's actually stopping. For Leonard? This I gotta see. She's braced for the kid to toss a coin and strut off, classic charity flex, all show, no soul. She's seen it from tourists, execs, even cops. A quick dime, a quicker exit. But Barron's not tossing anything. He's standing there, still as stone, his gaze locked on Leonard like the rest of Detroit's vanished. Leonard's palms sweat despite the cold. Say something, kid, he thinks, the silence clawing at him. Yell, walk, anything, just don't stare like I'm a damn exhibit. His mind's a war zone now, ricocheting between hope and dread. Hope's a traitor, he's learned that the hard way. 3 years on these streets, and every maybe has ended in dust. The plant shutting down, promising new opportunities that never came. The landlord swearing 1 more month, then padlocking his door. Ellie's, I'll call soon, Dad, turning into a year of silence. Hope's a lie, but it's clawing up anyway, a tiny, stupid spark he can't snuff out. He's not walking, he realizes, breath hitching. Why the hell isn't he walking? Mia's leaning so hard against the glass her nose smudges it. This ain't right, she thinks, heart thudding. She knows Leonard's type, stubborn, broken, the kind who'll sit in a blizzard rather than beg loud. She's tossed him rolls, sure, but she's never asked his story. Too close to her own, Rico's calls, her mom's cough, the dream she's buried. Now this kid, this Barron, is cracking that wall. He's got to be playing him, she decides, skepticism a shield. Some rich kid stunt, get a photo, look good, ditch the bum. Leonard's too dumb to see it. But her gut twists, doubting her own call. Those sneakers are too close to Leonard's boots now, the gap shrinking, and the crowd's buzzing like a hive kicked over. Leonard's voice echoes in his skull, you're nothing to him. Dirt on his shoe. He's ready for the rejection, hell, he's built for it. His back aches, his knees creak, and his pride's a shredded rag, but he's still here, still asking. The kid's silence stretches, a taut wire ready to snap. Leonard's eyes drop to the pavement, tracing a crack like it's his lifeline. Walk away, kid, he pleads silently. Don't make this worse. But Barron doesn't walk. He steps closer, the white sneakers inches from Leonard's scuffed toes, and the airlock's tight. Mia's breath catches. The vape teen's camera shakes. The crowd leans in, a collective inhale. This isn't just $1 anymore. It's a collision. Leonard's world, brittle and gray, slams against Barron's, bright and untouchable. The external clash is loud. A homeless man daring to halt a prince of privilege, the street holding its breath for the fallout. But the internal war is louder. Leonard wrestling a shame so deep it's bone marrow, a hope so fragile it's glass. Can kindness even live here? He wonders, the question a ghost in his chest. Mia's asking it too, her cynicism cracking. The crowd's asking it, phones trembling. And Barron? He's the spark, the match hovering over dry tinder, about to prove this city wrong, or burn Leonard's last shred of faith to ash. The Detroit street holds its breath, a brittle paw stretched tight as Barron's white sneakers hover inches from Leonard's scuffed boots. The crowd's a buzzing hive, phones up, whispers sharp, waiting for the rich kid to drop a dime or a diss and strut off. Leonard's braced for it, his gut a knot of hunger and dread, his mind chanting, walk away, walk away. Mia's peering through the bodega glass, arms crossed, her smirk ready to say, told you so. The vape teen's camera wobbles, his buddy hissing, this is gold, man, keep rolling. Then Barron moves not back, not away, but down. He bends his knees, slow and deliberate, and drops to a crouch, a level with Leonard on the grimy curb. The air cracks open. Leonard blinks, hard, like his brain short-circuiting. What the hell? He thinks, his breath snagging. This kid, sharp jacket, pristine kicks, face like he stepped off a billboard, is kneeling in Detroit's dirt, close enough that Leonard smells leather and some faint, clean cologne. The crowd gasps a jagged wave of sound. Mia's rag slips from her hand, hitting the counter with a soft thud. No way, she mutters, leaning so hard the glass creaks. Barron's voice cuts through, calm but firm, like he's asking about the weather. What's it for? Leonard's jaw slackens. He fumbles, voice a dry croak. Coffee. Maybe a burger, if I'm lucky. His hands twitch, half expecting a trick, a laugh, something to shred this flicker of hope. Barron doesn't laugh. He tilts his head, eyes narrowing, not judging, just listening. Then he reaches into his pocket. The crowd leans in, a dozen phones glinting like fireflies. Leonard's pulse slams. Here it comes, pennies or pity. But Barron's hand emerges with a crisp $50 bill, green and smooth, not a crumpled single. He holds it out, steady as stone. This is yours, he says, voice low, like it's just them, not a circus of gawkers. Leonard stares, the bill a mirage in his frostbit fingers. $50? That's not coffee, that's a week of meals, a night off the curb. His throat locks, words stuck. Is he serious? He thinks, eyes darting from the cash to Barron's face. But Barron's not done. He pulls a gum wrapper from his jacket, spearmint, crumpled, and scribbles something with a pen he's fished out. The crowd's buzzing louder now. What's he writing? Is that really Barron Trump? Mia's muttering, kids lost it? $50 and a love note? Barron hands the wrapper to Leonard, his voice dropping softer, insistent. There's a catch. Go here tomorrow. Second start, off Gresham. Tell Em I sent you. Leonard unfolds it, hand shaking, a sloppy address in black ink, a rehab joint he's passed 100 times, never dared enter. He looks up, stunned. Why? He rasps, the words slipping out raw. Barron shrugs, a faint smile tugging his lips. Because you asked. And because I can. The street explodes. The vape teen whoops. Yo, that's viral shit right there. His phone's live streaming now, the clip rocketing across X. 10K views in 10 minutes, a flood of fire emojis and WTFs. A woman in a red scarf snaps pics, yelling. I knew it, Barron Trump. A grizzled guy with a cigarette grunts, stunt. Kids buying clout. But others aren't so sure. A mom with a stroller whispers, that's kind. Leonard's clutching the $50 and the wrapper, his head spinning. This ain't real, he thinks, the bill crisp against his palm. He's messing with me. Gotta be. But Barron's already standing, brushing dirt off his knees, unfazed by the chaos he's unleashed. Inside, Mia's reeling. $50 and a damn address, she thinks, her coffee cold now. She's seen handouts, drunks tossing quarters, suits flipping fives, but this is nuts. She storms to the door, cracks it open, the wind slapping her face. Hey, Leonard, she yells sharp. You gonna take that or what? He turns, eyes wide, like a deer in headlights. Yeah. He mumbles, shoving the cash in his coat, the wrapper in his fist. Mia snorts, better not blow it on lotto tickets, dumbass. But her voice wavers, she's rattled, and she hates it. Kid's either a saint or a showboat, she decides, slamming the door. Either way, Leonard's in deep now. By dusk, the clip's a wildfire, 100K views, trending under hashtag BarronBucks. Reporters swarm Mack Avenue. Mike's thrusting at Leonard as he huddles under a streetlight. Why'd he pick you? A guy in a parka demands, camera rolling. Leonard ducks, hood up, muttering. I just asked, man. Leave me alone. Mia's behind the counter, shooing them off. Get out of here, vultures. But they're relentless. X lights up. Barron Trump's a hero. Nah, PR move. Dude's a billionaire brat. A thread digs deeper. Second starts legit. Helps ex-cons, addicts. Kids connected. Leonard's oblivious. Trudging to a diner with his $50, scarfing a burger. First hot meal in weeks. The wrapper's in his pocket. A ticking clock he can't ignore. Next morning, he's pacing outside Second Start. A squat brick building. Graffiti clawing its edges. The sign faded but proud. The $50's half spent, but the wrapper's burning a hole in his mind. Go there. Tell him I sent you, Barron said. Leonard's boots scuff the sidewalk, his breath fogging. What's the catch? He thinks, dread coiling. They'll laugh me out, Barron who? Or it's some scam. But that burger's still warm in his gut, and those sneakers haunt him. Kneeling, not kicking. He pushes the door, bell jangling. A guy at the desk, bald, tattooed, ex-con vibes, looks up. Yeah. Leonard slides the wrapper over, voice a whisper. Barron sent me. The guy smirks, grabs a phone. Boss, we got another one. Hours later, Leonard's in a blur. Form signed, a COT assigned, a job lead at a warehouse. The counselor's gruff but real. You show up, you work, we got you. Leonard nods, clutching a coffee they gave him, steam curling like a lifeline. This is nuts, he thinks, the wrapper still in his hand. Back on Mack Avenue, Mia's shift ends, and she's scrolling X. 500K views now. Comments flooding. Barron's changing lives. Fake. Where's the proof? She spots a post. Second Start got a $10,000 drop last night. Anonymous. Coincidence? Mia freezes. No damn way, she mutters, staring at Leonard's empty curb. Kids playing chess while we're all checkers. The ripples rolling. A barista downtown hands a homeless guy $50. Tags at hashtag 50 for hope. A teacher in Flint shares the clip with her class. See? Ask, and someone might answer. By nightfall, Second Start's phones ringing off the hook. Donations, volunteers, people whispering Barron's name. Leonard's oblivious, crashing on his cot, the wrapper under his pillow. He didn't have to. He thinks, replaying Barron's crouch. That calm, because I can. Asterisk, it's not just cash. It's a shove, a dare, and Leonard's teetering on the edge. Cash out. Or step up. The clip hits 1M views, and Detroit's humming. Skeptics, believers, all watching him now. Mia's sketching that night. Napkin under her pen. Leonard's face. Barron's sneakers. A city skyline cracking open with light. Maybe he's for real, she thinks, her cynicism fraying. She texts Rico, first time in months. Saw something wild today. You still fighting? The crowd split. Half call Barron a savior, half a stuntman. But the momentum's unstoppable. Leonard's not just a bum anymore. He's a spark. And Barron? He's gone, melted back into the city, leaving a fuse lit and burning. Leonard's boots scuff the linoleum inside Second Start. The rehab center's air thick with bleach and burnt coffee. It's day one, barely 10 a.m., and he's already drowning in it. Forms stacked like bricks, a cot with a thin blanket, a job lead scribbled on a post-it. The tattooed counselor, Ray, shoves a chipped mug into his hands, steam curling up. Drink. You look like hell. Ray grunts, half a smirk tugging his lip. Leonard nods, clutching the coffee like it's a lifeline, the gum wrapper with Barron's scrawl still crumpled in his pocket. This place is real, he thinks, the warmth seeping into his palms. But me? I'm a fraud. They'll see it soon enough. His eyes dart, peeling paint on the walls, a bulletin board plastered with help-wanted flyers, a dozen guys like him shuffling through, heads down. He's here because of Barron, because of $50 and a dare, but the weight of it all presses hard. What if I can't? Ray's barking orders now, pointing Leonard to a desk in the corner. Sit. We're calling your shots today, job history, health, the works. Leonard slumps into the chair, the vinyl creaking under him. His hands shake as he lists it out. Welder, St. Jean Steel Works, laid off 22, back wrecked. No address since 23. Ray scribbles, nodding, then slides a beat-up phone across the desk. Family, he asks, voice flat but eyes sharp. Leonard freezes, the word a punch. Ellie, his mind whispers, her giggle echoing from years back. Pigtails, crayons. Dad, look. He shakes his head, throat tight. Nah, nobody. Ray leans back, arms crossed. Bullshit. Everyone's got somebody. You want him in or out? Leonard's jaw locks, shame a hot coal in his chest. She's better off without me, he thinks, staring at the phone. Been a year. She's 19 now, probably hates me. Ray doesn't push, just taps the phone. Your call, man. Literally. He walks off, leaving Leonard alone with the dial tone humming like a dare. His fingers hover, trembling, the number burned into his brain despite the silence. One ring, he bargains, punching it in. Then I hang up. The line clicks, buzzes once, twice. His pulse slams, ready to bolt. Then a voice, soft and shaky, picks up. Hello. Leonard's breath stops. It's her. Ellie. His Ellie. Dad? She says, louder now, a crack in the word. Is that you? He grips the phone, knuckles white, words choking. Yeah, kiddo, he rasps, barely audible. It's me. The line explodes with her sob, a raw, ragged sound that rips through him. Dad? Oh my God, I saw you. Online. That video. Some kid with money. You on the curb. I thought you were gone. Leonard's eyes burn. Tears he hasn't shed in years pricking hot. She saw me. He thinks, the clip flashing back. Barron sneakers, his own hollow face. Ellie, he starts, but she cuts in, words tumbling fast. I've been looking, Dad. Called the old place, asked around. Nobody knew. I thought you were dead, or worse. Where are you? He swallows, voice a whisper. Second start. Detroit. I'm trying, Elle. She's crying now, full on, and it's breaking him open. I'm coming, she says, fierce. Don't move. I'm 20 minutes away. The line clicks dead, and Leonard's left staring, coffee cold, heart hammering. She's coming. 20 minutes stretch like hours. Leonard's pacing the lobby, boots thudding. Ray watching from the desk with a raised brow. She won't show, he thinks, dread coiling. She'll change her mind. Why wouldn't she? I'm a mess. But then the door bangs open, and there she is. Ellie, 19, taller than he remembers, brown curls wild, eyes red but blazing. She's in a thrift store coat, a backpack slung over one shoulder, and she freezes when she sees him. Dad? She breathes, and it's a sprint. Her crashing into him, arms tight around his neck, his around her waist. He's shaking, her tears soaking his collar, his soaking her hair. I'm sorry, he chokes out over and over. I'm so damn sorry. She pulls back, hands on his face, fierce. Stop. You're here. That's enough. They collapse onto a bench, her backpack thudding to the floor. She's talking fast, catching him up, college dropout, waitressing, a rough year. Then she stops, eyes narrowing. That kid, Barron Trump. He sent you here, right? The video's everywhere, Dad. People are losing it. Leonard nods, fumbling the wrapper from his pocket, showing her the scrawl. Yeah, gave me $50, told me to come. I didn't get it, still don't. Ellie's breath hitches, a strange smile tugging her lips. Dad, listen. I know Second Start. I worked here, intern last summer, helping with outreach. Barron, he's the reason I'm clean. Leonard's head snaps up, eyes wide. What? She digs in her bag, pulls out a worn notebook, pages of messy sketches, journal entries. Last year, I was a wreck, pills, bad crowd, spiraling. Got picked up, mandated to rehab. Second Start took me in, and one day this kid shows up, quiet, no cameras, just there. He sat with us, me and some others, asked what we needed. I told him I wanted to draw again, feel something real. Next week, they had art supplies, pens, paper, all of it. He said, everyone deserves a shot. Use it. She flips to a sketch, a pair of white sneakers, bold lines. That was him, Dad. Barron. He didn't brag, didn't post it. Just did it. Leonard staring, the wrapper trembling in his hand. Her too, he thinks, the pieces slamming together. Barron's crouch on the curb, that calm, because it wasn't random. It was a thread, stitching Ellie's fight to his own. He saved you? He whispers, voice cracking. Ellie nods, eyes shining. Yeah, and now you're here. Dad, he saw us, both of us, when nobody else did. Leonard's chest caves, a sob ripping free. He clutches her hand, the coffee mug clattering to the floor. I'm not trash, he realizes, the thought a thunderclap. I'm her dad. And he knew. Ray's leaning over now, smirking. Told you, everyone's got somebody. He slides a tissue box over, but Leonard's past tears, his face streaked but alive. Ellie's laughing through hers, wiping her cheeks. You're staying, right? Here, with me, she asks, voice small but steel. Leonard nods, fierce. Yeah, Elle, I'm staying. She digs in her bag again, pulls out a crumpled photo, him and her, years back. At a park, her on his shoulders. Found this in storage. Kept it. He takes it, fingers tracing her grin, his own, back when he had one. I've got more strength than I know, he thinks, Barron's words echoing from the curb, from Ellie's story. He saw it. She sees it. Outside, the clips hit 2M views, X ablaze with hashtag 50 for hope trending. Reporters swarm second start slot, but inside, it's quiet, just Leonard and Ellie, the photo between them, a bridge rebuilt. He sees Barron's face in his mind, those sneakers, that crouch, and it's not about the $50 anymore. It's a mirror, reflecting a man worth saving, a father worth finding. Ellie leans on his shoulder, whispering, We're okay now, Dad. And for the first time in years, Leonard believes it, really believes it. The world's roaring, but here, it's still, and that's the loudest thing of all. 2 months later, Leonard's boots don't leak anymore. They're new steel-toed, scuffed just enough to feel as pounding the floor of a warehouse off Jefferson Avenue. He's welding again, sparks spitting from his torch as he fuses beams for a new auto parts plant, one of those electric vehicle gigs Detroit's betting on. The pay's steady, not flashy, $18 an hour, enough for a studio apartment with a stove that works and a bed that doesn't creak. His hands don't shake now, not from cold or doubt, just the rhythm of the work. Feels like me again, he thinks, wiping sweat from his brow, the hum of machinery a heartbeat he'd forgotten. At night, he's got Ellie, 19, fierce and close, crashing on his couch some weekends, her laughter filling the tiny space as they burn boxed mac and cheese and argue over old movies. It's awkward, still, years lost don't mend overnight, but it's healing, stitch by stitch. Ellie's waitressing downtown, slinging coffee at a spot with exposed brick and overpriced lattes, saving for art school. She's sketching again, 2 bold lines of Detroit's jagged beauty, her notebook fat with pages she shows Leonard over takeout. You're good, kiddo, he says, voice gruff but proud, and she grins, shoving a fry at him. Better than you at cooking, that's for sure. Their dinners are small, messy miracles, plates clinking, stories swapped, a photo of them at the park taped to his fridge. He's not just surviving now. He's living, and every weld, every laugh, is a brick in a wall he's rebuilding. Barron saw it, he thinks, the gum wrapper framed on a shelf, a quiet relic. Ellie saw it. Guess I'm seeing it too. Back at Manny's bodega, Mia's shift ends different these days. She's not behind the counter anymore, quit 3 weeks ago, apron balled up and tossed with a good riddance. Leonard's nudged at it. That night he'd stopped by with Ellie, still shaky from second start, saying, You're tougher than me, Mia. Prove it. She'd scoffed, but it stuck, gnawing at her till she marched into second start herself. Now she's training there, outreach assistant, $15 an hour, helping guys like Leonard find their footing. Her hands trade the register for clipboards, her sketches pinned to the break room wall, gritty faces, rusted skylines, a quiet rebellion blooming. Never thought I'd be here, she thinks, flipping through intake forms, Rico's latest letter unanswered in her bag. But damn, it fits. Her car still coughs, rent still tight, but there's air now, space to breathe, to dream. She texts Rico sometimes, short and sharp. I'm working. You work too. No bail yet, but a seed's planted. At night, she's sketching more, Leonard welding, Ellie laughing, even Barron's sneakers, a moment she can't shake. The bodega's a memory, its neon flicker fading as she walks home under streetlights, boots crunching gravel. He started this, she mutters, thinking of Leonard, of Barron, a smirk tugging her lips. Dumbass with a sign and a kid with a hunch. Who knew? Mia's not soft, not yet, but she's thawing, and that's enough. Outside their orbit, the ripples a roar. That clip, Barron kneeling, Leonard stunned, hits 20M views, a wildfire scorching X, YouTube, every screen from Detroit to Des Moines. Hashtag 50 for hope trends for weeks, a hashtag born from a barista downtown who handed a homeless guy $50, whispering, pass it on. It spreads fast. In Flint, a teacher slips a vet $50 for groceries. Posted, "He fought for us. I'm fighting for him." In Philly, a single mom gets $50 from a stranger at a bus stop, uses it for diapers, then gives $50 to a shelter. By month's end, it's nationwide, hundreds of posts, thousands of dollars, a quiet revolution of 5s and 10s and 50s blooming in gas stations, curbs, church pews. Second Start feels it hard. That anonymous $10,000 drop. Everyone knows it's Barron, though he's a ghost, no statements, no spotlight, turns into a flood. Donations roll in. $5,000 from a Toledo car dealer, $2,000 from a Lansing church, a stack of $50s mailed in envelopes with "Hope" scrawled on them. The center expands, 3 new sites, one in Grand Rapids, beds doubling, job program surging. Ray's hiring now, grumbling, "Too many damn do-gooders," but his smirk says he's proud. A vet in Tulsa lands a gig welding, same plan as Leonard, different shift, tagging #50 for hope. Got my shot. Taking it. A mom in Cleveland enrolls her son in counseling, posts, "Barron's clip saved us both." The numbers climb 50, 100, 200 lives nudged from the edge, all tracing back to a curb on Mack Avenue. Detroit's humming different now. That rusted factory skeleton across from Manny's? It's got scaffolding, workers in hard hats, part of the EV boom, jobs trickling back. Leonard sees it from his bus stop, a faint grin tugging his lips. Built this city once, he thinks. Maybe we're building it again. The clip's dissected on news. CNN calls it privilege with purpose. Fox dubs it a kid stepping up. Pundits bicker over Barron's motives. Skeptics still snarl stunt. But the tide's shifting. A grizzled cabbie mutters to his fare. Saw that Trump kid's thing. Dropped a guy a 10 yesterday. Felt good. The city's not fixed. Poverty's still a beast. Unemployment's a shadow. But there's a pulse, a warmth in the cracks. Barron's silent, vanished back to wherever he came from. No interviews, no flexing. X-Digs anyway, posts claim he's funneled more cash, quiet-like, to places like Second Start. A staffer leaks, he calls sometimes, checks in, never brags. Leonard doesn't care about the noise. He's got his torch, his daughter, a roof. Ellie's got her sketches, a plan. Mia's got her clipboard, a spark. The 3 of them cross paths sometimes, coffee at Second Start, quick nods, no big words. "You good?" Mia asks Leonard once, smirking. "Yeah," he says, nodding back. "You." She shrugs, getting there. Ellie grins, "We're a mess, huh?" They laugh, a rough, real sound, and it's enough. The ripple's bigger than them now. A teacher in Chicago starts a hope fund, kids pooling quarters for classmates with empty lunch trays. A bar in St. Louis hands out $50 tabs to regulars down on luck, chalks it up to #50 for hope. Second Start's news site in Toledo opens, a line of guys like Leonard, worn but willing, shuffling in. The clip's at 25M views, comments flooding. "This is what we need. Kindness ain't dead." Leonard sees it on Ellie's phone one night, his hollow face from that day staring back. "That's me," he mutters, stunned. She squeezes his arm. "That's us, Dad. Look what you started." He shakes his head, but the grin's there, small and stubborn. The warehouse buzzer sounds, end of shift. Leonard clocks out, torch off, gloves tucked under his arm. The sky's bruising purple over Detroit, streetlights flickering on, and he's walking, steady, not shuffling, to meet Ellie for pizza. Mia's there too sometimes, sketching on napkins, ribbing him about his pepperoni obsession. It's not perfect. Rent's due, Ellie's tuition looms, Mia's car still groans, but it's solid. $1, he thinks, passing Manny's old curb, the memory sharp. One ask, look where it got me. The city hums around him, alive with cracks and sparks, and for the first time in years, Leonard's part of it. Not a ghost, but a man. The ripple rolls on, $50 at a time, and he's walking proof it's real. $1. One-horse plea on a frozen Detroit curb. One kid who didn't just toss a coin, but knelt in the dirt and dared Leonard to rise. That's where it started, a single ask, a single answer, and now look. A man welds again, a daughter laughs again, a city breathes again. Barron saw Leonard when the world didn't, handed him $50 and a gum wrapper that cracked his life open, reuniting him with Ellie, sparking Mia to fight, lighting a fuse that's burned through millions with #50 for hope. It's not about the money. It's about the mirror, showing a broken man he's worth saving, showing us all that one small move can roar loud enough to shake the earth. This is Superior Stories, where the lost get found, where the small turns mighty. Leonard didn't need a fortune, just someone to stop, to see him, to say, "You've got more in you than you know." Barron did. Ellie did. And now it's your turn. You've got $50 in your wallet, or maybe just a minute to listen. What's stopping you? Who's your Leonard, shivering on a corner, waiting for a spark? Who's your Ellie, one call away from healing? This isn't a fairy tale. It's a challenge, etched in Detroit's rust and resilience. One act, one choice, can rewrite a life, ripple through a city, ignite a nation. Leonard's proof. Mia's proof. You could be too. So here's the call. Don't scroll past this. Look around. Really look. That guy with the sign, that kid with the slumped shoulders, that friend you haven't checked on. They're not invisible unless you let them be. Drop a dollar, a word, a hand, something real, and watch what happens. Share it in the comments. Your story, your spark, your hashtag 50 for hope. Let's flood this feed with proof that kindness isn't dead, that hope's a fire we can all stoke. Leonard stood up because someone stopped. Mia fought because someone pushed. What'll you do because you watch this? This is where the broken rise, where the quiet roars, where you decide what's next. Detroit's still kicking, Leonard's still welding, and that ripple's still rolling, $50 at a time, heart by heart. You're not just a viewer, you're a player in this story now. Grab that chance, light that match, and let's burn the dark away together. Hit subscribe, drop your tail below, and let's make superior stories a movement. Because one ask changed everything, and your one move could too. Go do it. Now.